Which worldview? Have you heard of the Shanghai Cooperative Organization? It's only been around since 2001. It did the security at the Beijing Olympics. Just go into their website. It looks just like the United Nations Security Council. But as Johan Galtung said here, together it's about 50% of humanity confronting a relatively small country called the United States of America with only 300 million. Not a very impressive number these days. So the UNSC doesn't have any of the 56 Muslim countries in their permanent council. So they've gone and done their own. If you're looking at the demographics in the world, you'll see that, well, they're claiming that 50% of the world's children under the age of 12 are of the Islamic faith. Not good, bad, or indifferent, just fact. So you'd ask yourself, what do you know about the Islamic banking system? It's only a phenomenon since 1975, but given those sort of demographics, it's going to be the largest banking system within 10 to 15 years. The most popular boy's first name in the United Kingdom is Mohammed. Less than 1% of the UK population are practicing Christians. That's why you've got some very nice houses and restaurants around. And I assume that applies for Australia. So the fastest growing religion in Australia is Islam. What that means, 100 years ago, 40% of the world's population was Anglo-Celt. Today it's 14%. And given those same sort of statistics, in 100 years' time it'll be 4%. So white Anglo-Celts like me are on the way out. Darker skinned, darker haired people are on the way in. Less diversity of people. Again, not good, bad or indifferent, just fact. But it probably means that you're looking at so young, your grandchildren are likely to marry people of the Islamic faith and be of an Asian descent. Again, not good, bad or indifferent, just fact. So we don't all see the world the same. This is Gerd Hofstadter's work, where he's looking at various countries. So I'll just give you the one here. This for Australia. The PDI stands for the Power Distribution Index. That is, some countries it's okay to have hierarchies, that they like it. So Malaysia, Indonesia and China have very high hierarchies. In Australia, we don't. Come on, mate. We bring them down. The IDV is individualism. Australia has the second highest individualism score in the world, just 1 point below the United States. China, it's all about the collective. The masculine versus feminine. The LTO is the one I'm interested in, the long-term orientation. See how small it is in Australia and how huge it is in China. They're much more long-term thinking. We're in for the short-term buck. That shallow democracy again. Clever or stupid? There are people suggesting that the internet is not actually making us clever. It could be dumbing us down. So, and I don't think it's going to go away. I think us as educators need to know how we can use that to be more beneficial. How it's going to be more useful. More research, less knowledge. It's very easy to get your citations nowadays without actually doing much reading. So a lot of people I know Damien's got a PhD student coming in this afternoon. You're just wondering how much of that research is being done. Baroness Susan Greenfield talks about, maybe we're moving to having a nobody culture. That we used to be a somebody, an individual, but maybe now it's a nobody scenario, where we're just being suppressed of our uniqueness. You would have noticed that Facebook and Twitter and things like that, privacy is not a problem anymore. It's sharing everything, the mundane, whatever. It's like everybody's playing it. So I had a look at sort of what could this actually mean, because maybe it's a somebody and content sort of a scenario that we're looking, where creativity is the ultimate expression of individualism. The one that seems to be we're going for, though, is this nobody scenario. Content all being run by a different type of world. Richard Eckersley talks about, he sees that 20 to 30% of young people in Australia are actually suffering significant psychological distress. not very happy. So I think we as educators need to be looking at that. This one fascinates me. Looking at US college students being very well off financially or developing a meaningful philosophy of life. We can see that about 1975 it changed over. Why do you think that happened? I think it's happened when we introduced human resources. When we stopped having personnel or people, we had resources. We could treat them like any other resource. Come Christmas, our results are down a little bit, put them out. Have a provocative, a budget that comes out which has 4,200 people being sacked. It doesn't take any skill to put people off. Wouldn't it be great if we started to employ or started to reward CEOs and other people and government officials on the amount of people they put into work? And they create those sort of things. So I think it's when we killed loyalty. When it used to be belonging to something was important. And then brand me came in. I became more important than the job. Could have also been the digital age. But it's interesting to see that people want to be both rich and philosophical at the moment. So, a serious problem of our time is the gap between skill and wisdom. Science and technology are accelerating furiously, but wisdom is not. So we really got to think about what it means to be human. So, looking at the time, my creation of an optimistic hypothesis is that we need an education system that works, that we have to have teachers are really so important. We've got to start treating them as they're important. Whilst ever we have an advertising industry that teaches people to be materialistic, they're going to be. We teach materialism at school. We teach the continuous growth scenario at school. We believe that that's a fantasy. How can you be sustainable and have growth? It's an oxymoron. Maybe we've got to think about evolvability. How can we think about it? And a worldview that's more appropriate. So I think our education is really important about that. Also, I think it's important that you checklist what you do against steeple. Does it meet the needs of society? Are you using all technologies available, including social technology? Does it make economic sense for all tiers of society, but doesn't value one at the cost of others? Does it comply with best practice environmentally, including but not exclusive to the natural environment? Does it benefit all society without creating losers? Does it comply with the law? And is it ethical? Is it good? Now, ethics is about what is good, morals is about what is right. So moral philosophy seems to be we want to get both good and right. This sort of thing, you might have the right to build a mine or a school or whatever on an Aboriginal sacred site, but is that good? Those sort of questions I think we need to be thinking about. Singularity, I say, Ray Kurzweil reckons that by 2045 we'll start to be immortal. Aubrey de Green's The End of Aging, Damage and Treatment, etc. Docile in teens, affectionate without being mawkish, 150-year guarantee made in China. So, I think the genome revolution is really important. Look, I'm anxious at time, so I'll just leave it there. Thank you very much.